Welcome. Okay. All right. So done. Amazing. We are live now. So I'm going to go ahead and record also. Okay. So hello everybody. This is our live Q&A with the guides. So if you would like to get in this room and come ask us questions, feel free to do that. I'm going to go ahead and post the links in our live videos right now so that you guys can come and see that. Let's see. I'm just going to go to Restream and post the link right here for us. There you are. All right. So anyone can come on and hop on and ask questions about the upcoming season. You know, it's going to be really exciting. Yeah. Oh, all right. Jesslyn, do you want to start off talking about just your class and what we have to look forward to?
Sure. Can you hear me all right? Okay, perfect. Hi, everybody. Welcome. So nice to be here, and it's a beautiful Sunday afternoon. I am super excited about the class. I would love to have anybody who has any questions, feel free to reach out to me also. The 8 weeks that we're going to be spending together is going to go through all these different techniques so that you can learn to access your intuition in many different ways. And the way that we receive information out in the field is through our senses. And so each person has a sense that is stronger than all the others. And it is also said people who are blind, maybe their sense of smell or their sense of touch is way more intensified. And even if you don't have one of your senses handicapped, we still have one that we favor more. And we're going to find out what that one is. And we're basically going to show you how to access more information from the field so that then you can actually choose to do with it what you like. You're going to be able to discern what voices are coming from the ego mind versus what voices are coming from your intuition, your connection to source, your angels, your guides, and your higher self. So that right there is going to be a really beautiful thing to be able to determine for your own self. Discernment is very powerful. And we will be accessing different states of consciousness through breath work, through meditation. And then there is this other technique that I have co-joined several different things all together that have seemed to be multiplying the results for the students. So this class is an addendum to all of the other classes that I've taught here. So I believe this will be my 6th season, and each class I keep packing in more and more and more stuff because not only do the people really enjoy it, but then it also changes each time. And of course, the people who are participating will also help shape where we take the curriculum and how fast we take the curriculum. So the way that I've designed the course is for expert and amateur. So someone who has no idea about intuition at all, that would love to have intuition, and then also people who do readings for people professionally, which is something that I do as well. So it all varies between the expertise of the students, and which is also really awesome because then it helps everybody else level up. So when you are working with someone who has more practice accessing their intuition, it bumps every single person who doesn't even have a clue up to the next level. So we are going to be working with each other, practicing, and through the 8 weeks, by the time that you complete the 8 weeks, you'll be able to send and receive telepathic messages. You'll be able to remote view, and you'll be able to use frequencies to heal yourself. and that is through light language. So that is stuff that you are going to be channeling once you're connected to your team, and be able to bring forth those healing frequencies that resonate for you. So we're going to be practicing on each other, practicing with each other, and then also practicing outside of our class so that we have more practice.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. And I can definitely say I've been in Jesselyn's class, and she has a really brilliant way of teaching because she also likes to incorporate games in her class. So we'll play, telepathic games with each other. And Eric has also actually been a part of her class. We'd like to know if anyone here has any questions for her. And I am going to be looking in the YouTube chats as well, but you guys feel free to come on to this Zoom to ask your questions. Would either Eric, Linda, or let's see, I'm sorry, Gayla, yeah, like to ask any questions?
Actually, I just wanted to say I've taken Jesse's course before, and it's amazing how your senses open up literally, and you can become, I guess, it's a master class, isn't it? Would you say, Jesselyn?
Yeah, I mean, this is a master class the way that I've honed it now, but it's a
Okay.
master class for someone who has no experience, and it's also a master class for someone who has a lot of experience. And the content is tailored for both because there's different levels. So we always, whoever is at the bottom level will start there, and whoever's at the top level will start here, but we all go together.
And we all carry that deeper knowledge. I think Jesselyn really, really brings that forward, that each of us have that deep knowledge, just not all of us know how to access it yet. So it's a beautiful course, and I highly recommend it. So I gained a lot out of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Yeah, you're amazing too. Very talented, both you and Coffee. Natural.
Beautiful.
All right, so do we have any other questions you want to check the chat? All right, we're just going to take a moment to make sure we've got that.
Yeah. Let's see reality. All right. So no one on there. Let's see. Forward to session.
There he is. Hi, Eric.
Welcome back.
Hey, Alan. So good to see your face.
Alan,
Gayla, Linda, thanks for being on the call.
What did you say, Adam?
where are you at these days?
Right at this moment, I'm sitting in the corner of my apartment in New York, waiting for a couch to be delivered. But it is 95 degrees with humidity. It's a little warm.
Goodness gracious. Eric was saying something very similar. About
Yeah. Where's Eric? Where are you, Eric?
You're muted.
I am in the Portland, Oregon area, kind of in Beaverton, actually Beaverton. So it gets pretty warm. I mean, fortunately, we have a lot of trees. We can go and walk into the forest and cool down. It helps a lot. So,
well, that's good. I wish there were some trees in New York City, but
they call it a concrete jungle for a reason, right?
Yep, it certainly is that. But the beach is nice. I try to get out to the beach. So are people interested in what my course is? Is that what I'm here for?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You want to go ahead and talk about it?
And thanks, Jesselyn.
Yeah. I mean, it's related to what Jesselyn was saying, because once you have this window of awareness of this other level of consciousness, you can do so many things. In this course that I've been doing for 7 semesters, it's remote viewing as it was taught or learned by the Stanford Research Institute and then taught to the CIA because they wanted a psychic spying program because they found out the Russians had a psychic spying program. They said, we can't let the Russians do what we're not doing. So they hired a team, including the person who taught me, Russell Targ, Anyway, before I get into that, it's great to see you, Adam and Coffee.
Yeah.
I miss that little place you got there in Sedona. So anyway, it's very exciting because they learned an approach because, and I'll go through the history in my course, of how to tap into a non-local consciousness, which is what we really are, which is what Jeslin's doing with telepathy. But I think what Stanford Research Institute had did mostly is make it into a science, into a trainable thing, and maybe that's what Jeslin do. I don't know, but it's a trained technique. Of course, you have to get out of the way and make yourself available to the infinite unknown. But I've been researching how is it possible that our minds can pick up something that's non-local. And I've been looking at the work of Gary Nolan and Kit Green, and there's actually a part of the brain there, the hypothalamus, which is increased in activity in remote viewings and UFO contactees. Both have this more white matter, and I think that's an antenna. That is a non-local antenna that lets you access, like I say in my class, if you didn't know you had an internet, you would think you couldn't get anything that was not already programmed into your computer. Well, that's the same thing with remote viewing. We have this internet connection, and most people think they only know what they've learned in local time. And I say the right brain, which is connected to this hypothalamus piece, is connected to the infinite field, or the quantum field, as Joe Dispenza says. So everything is really known about anything all the time. What we have to do, and I say this also, I can't teach you this, but you can learn it because you're already doing it all the time. You have to just get the personality out of the way, because as Russell Targ explained to me, the signal is always broadcasting. So if I say, a friend of mine's at this location, can you tell me what it is? You have to get everything out of the way and then let it come to you. It's the receptive part of your brain. We did some great experiments with Coffee in the class, didn't we, Coffee?
Oh yeah.
Where you had that doll or something, and people get flashes, glimpses of insight. I just got this thing with many, many different kind of arms type thing. That's all I got from that thing. And I didn't know what it was. You see, a lot of the first couple of classes are making a distinction between the left and right brain. The left brain doesn't know anything, it just thinks it does. The right brain is where all the information is, but it has to be translated into something we know. I also talk about the difference between cognition and recognition. You can't recognize something you haven't cognized. But how do you learn cognition? Is through trained perception. So part of remote viewing is training your right brain to access this window of non-local reality. And at some point, I call it, this window will open up in your brain and you start to get pictures. Some people get sounds, some people get smells, some people get bodily impressions. It really is not just viewing, it's a whole body practice. It really, really is. So that's what's exciting. I mean, I always think it's amazing that the CIA found God, because that's really what we're finding is our infinite nature, meaning that we actually are not in these bodies. These are avatars, like a computer avatar. Like, I don't think you're in the screen there. I mean, I see your face, I see your body, but I know if I opened up my computer, I'm not going to find Adam and Coffee sitting, or maybe I will. I don't know. They're so transdimensional. But so we are this avatars, and we're really not here either. But the illusion is, the Maya is that we are, but from where we are really sitting, everything is known. But we've been so conditioned to think with our left brain, which is just logic, ABC 1, 2, 3, and that's, I think, a kind of conspiracy. I'm not a big conspiracy person, but I am into that conspiracy, because we are so trained to shut down on this creative aspect of our consciousness where we tap into the infinite field. And this is really what the Course reactivates, the creative potential, because all the new ideas are coming into us all the time, but we block them out because we say it's not logical. Well, the universe is not logical. Nothing we know is logical, but it makes sense on this other level. So the left brain counts 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. The right brain, its form of thinking is pattern perceptions. So if you're good at patterns, looking at patterns and finding patterns in everything, that's really a right brain activity. So you'll be a good remote viewer. I mean, everyone has a right brain. Otherwise you'd just be, totally, like in the military or something where it's all logical. But because we have dreams, we're creative in what we wear, speak, express. That's some more of our right brain. But one thing you might like this, Coffee, and Adam, I say consciousness is an app. You know how you have apps, well, it's not just when I talk about people think consciousness, oh, it's just awareness. I know. No, I say it's an intention. It's the use of an app for gathering information, certain types of information that have to do with consciousness. And I just came up with this kind of analogy I used at Contact in the Desert, where I was hosting the remote viewing panel with Tracy Dolan and Anthony Peake and Paul Smith, who's probably one of the best remote viewers in the world. So I said, consciousness is an app. Most people just think it's like an awareness vehicle, but I say, imagine the telephones. You might not remember this, Coffee. The telephones in the 1960s and 70s, they all had wires, right? You could, and if I came from the future to the 1960s, 70s and said, I have a telephone where I could, check my mail, I could make reservations, I could, look up any friend in the world, all the things telephones do now. And I should make a list of these things. And you're still thinking the telephone is a wire to the wall that only does one thing. You can call someone who's on the other wire. And I say, no, the telephone is infinite now. I think that's the analogy between what we're thinking consciousness is and what consciousness really is, particularly used by the ETs. They're using it as an application. We're using it as a wired device that only does one thing, but it is everything. Remote viewing, remote sending, remote healing, remote sensing. Everything is the non-local mind. Actually, your memory is not even in your brain, it's in the field. So it's accessing that information. So basically, I'm saying we're non-local, get used to it, and this is a practice that will get you there. And you could levitate probably after that.
Yes,
How's
love
that?
I love
Okay.
it. It's great. And I would like
Yeah.
to know if anyone has any questions for Alan or any of us at this point. You can. I keep sending the link. So it's all on that YouTube. In the comment section there for you guys. It'll send you the email immediately that you'll be able to join this.
Well, I just want to ask people, does that make sense that it's an application the way our phones are applications now, where we had no idea? So we're just calling everything consciousness because we think that's the term. But it's not one thing, it's all things. And these classes that we'll do together are ways of accessing different forms of that sending, receiving, how to use your brain and mind in different ways. I mean, the government's using this. When there's a UFO over that's sighted like publicly, they use their remote viewers to see, okay, who's on that craft, where they come from. And that's actually what we'll be doing. So learning remote viewing is just the first half of the program. The second half is going off planet. Once we really learn how to remote view and everyone in the class is on the same page, right, Coffee? We start to And then, you know, the thing about remote viewing is like you see the targets that I asked you to remote view, and you have feedback, and you can find out how you're using your consciousness to get that target, where you got thrown off, where you let your other parts of your mind lead you astray. But once we get that down and we know what the target is, we go to places where we don't know what the target is, like what's the closest planet to Sirius, and who are those beings there, and what do they have to tell us, you know? And if we get an agreement about that, then I call it remote viewing for making contact. That's really the essence of the course. So learning the basics, and then we travel throughout the cosmos to see who and what is really out there. That's where it gets exciting. So join
Right.
me.
And I remember in our last class
Oh,
that we did, where I joined us, we went to Jupiter, and oh
yes.
my gosh, that was such a fascinating like time, because everybody was having a lot of the same visuals that I was getting, and it's that some of the beings there on Jupiter were literally like the vaporous beings.
Well, that's how you know we're all in the same place, because we're all getting the same thing. Gala, what were you going to ask
Gayla.
me? Gayla.
Well, actually, what you're saying to me makes a whole lot of sense. And the reason I jumped in on this
Mhm.
Was because I'm not highly practiced. I sort of got dragged into this about 4 years ago. Um, I feel that I have remote viewed. I'm pretty sure I have, because I've gotten some confirmation. I feel that I've gotten a lot of information that I didn't read in a book. I don't know where it came from, but it didn't come from me. That kind of stuff. Space-time continuum stuff. What I have trouble, and why I jumped in here, is I don't seem to be able to control it.
Well,
Most of what I get happens when I'm meditating. But I don't seem to be able to I
yeah.
don't seem to be able to make something happen. I can't go to Jupiter when I feel like going to Jupiter.
Well, that's partly because you haven't been trained, and also the class dynamics really help, because we form a kind of collective field. So
Yeah.
people are remote viewing all the time, like you're saying, and we're getting glimpses. Like I was traveling recently, I got this flash of my bookshelf, and when I came back to my apartment, it was completely tipped over, and I said, "That's weird that I flashed on that," but I didn't forget that. So yeah, most people just get flashes and glimpses of that, but in the class, we control it with intent. Intent is the key. And intent is not, oh, I'm intending to do that. Intent is a way of directing the right brain in a direction, but the right brain's also receiving. So you don't want to overly direct it. You want to put out the intent and then sit back and let yourself receive it. So there's a
Okay, so
difference
you have to be
between
an antenna and a receiver.
absolutely, and you are anyway. But when we actually sit down and do the remote viewing, that's the practice. That's actually the
Okay.
practice to fine tune how you're going to do it. And everybody does it differently. And that's what's exciting. I learned from every class, from every single person. And, you know, this is a new science. Humans are finally learning how to use their brain, and we can say the CIA was responsible for that indirectly. But Mark, did you
Hopefully
have a
something good
question?
came out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My question is, Alan, um, in our galaxy, making first contact, do you think that it's forbidden for advanced civilizations or ETs in our galaxy to make first contact because they probably look like us, and we'd find that very difficult to deal with? Whereas the visitors that we see are supposedly strange looking, they may not be from our galaxy. Do you think there's a prohibition
What?
by the Galactic Federation that prevents first contact?
No, because it would be too late at this point. No, we've been visited for many, many a century. We're actually, I mean, going back 200,000 years with the Anunnaki, I think we're actually interbred with these alien races. We have advanced genetics. If you read my book, there's a chapter where they talk about a gene that seems to have come out of nowhere. So I don't think there's any rules in the universe. I think beings come and go. I think the ones that do look like us are maybe more related to us, but I don't think there's a prohibition because it hasn't been enforced and we are being overrun. And the idea is to be as conscious as you can, so when they are in your field, you can pick it up. Some people say, is there a prohibition for us remote viewing other planets? And in some traditions, or some people say, if some beings doesn't want you to remote view them, they will block you. They will put a shield around you because they don't know. But most people, or most ETs, like most people, are pretty friendly. They're pretty nice. They don't have like their own like little agendas. Some of them do, of course, and those are the ones that probably have come here. But there's billions of races on billions of planets. What I say in my book also, which you can get on Amazon, is life is not a anomaly. It's not a freak of nature. Life is an emergent property of creation itself. Life is abundant, and consciousness, whatever that is the vehicle for which life attaches itself to, I would say. So it goes from the top down, not from the bottom up. You know, there was consciousness, some people call that God, whatever, but it devolved into the lower life forms, and now we're evolving back. So there's this spiral of de-evolution, evolution, and, you know, descending into form and evolving back to the Godhead, or whatever you want to call it. So, and that's taking place on many planets. And I think first contact is actually immediate as of these days, is what Bashar's here about as a first contact specialist, because it's eminent, which happens to be the name of Lou Elizondo's upcoming book in August, Eminent. And we'll be talking a little bit about that, because it is actually happening. If you go to Sedona, it's happening every night, and most places. So first contact, it's right out our front door. And this is why the government has been pressured to tell us the truth. I mean, we'll see when we get that truth, but it is eminent. And the awareness of that, it's been happening at least since 47, probably since the late 1890s, probably since the Renaissance. I mean, it's ongoing, and yeah, we're part of it.
Yeah.
I know it's
Thank
a little
you.
long-winded. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. I mean, I could talk for days about this, so thank you for asking. All right. Because it's my passion, you know, it's like, I can't think of anything more exciting than meeting an alien race, interfacing with them, and trying to develop a kind of intellectual framework in which we're going to exchange knowledge. It's not like, oh, hi, we're here. No, they don't think anything like us. They don't, I think, look like us, and their vibrational field is very different than our energetic field, you know. So when they come into your sphere, into your energetic awareness, they distort the field. It's a distortion. When you really have an ET in your presence, it's actually hard to stay conscious sometimes because they're so different. It's like getting AM on a Wi-Fi, you know, bandwidth. You can't, it doesn't match the frequency. We're capable of matching that frequency, except most people are so locked into their limited personality vibrating at that level that there's no room for anything bigger. So that's sort of where we're at. We have to make room in order to make contact. Maybe
Yeah.
that'd be the name of my next book, Making Room.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that's exactly the whole idea of LightNet here, is to help people get more in tune with those aspects of themselves, to build their
Right.
consciousness level to a point where they actually can start to interface with ETs and their higher selves and, you know, guides, loved ones, etc. So all
Right.
those other levels of consciousness.
That's why I support LightNet and Starseed Academy, because they're probably the only place that's dedicated to this sort of evolution of consciousness, and how the interchange, and preparing us for this interchange with beings that, you know, most people will say, what's going on here? Who's here? And like, we'll be the ones that have been
I
trained.
like
Yeah.
to say that it's by taking classes at LightNet, it's learning to access your consciousness on call.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
So it's really exciting what Coffee, Adam, Zinka are putting together. They are visionaries of the future. We need that. Mark, you had another question.
Yeah, another one that's on my mind a lot is, do we have free will? Are they using telepathic mind control on humans for their own amusement? Are we like avatars? Can they manipulate us like avatars?
Well, you know, the jury is out, and I was just at Contact in the Desert, and yes, there is manipulation. Yes, there is distortion. Yes, they're putting thoughts and images in our minds, but we're also the masters of our destiny. We need to become more and more aware to know when we're interfacing with these illusions and when we're not. You see, they're not greater than us. They may be more intelligent, they may have more access to consciousness, but they're not beyond us. We need this training just so we know levels of manipulation that are happening by the ET groups, but we can rise to that level, you know. So it's like talking to your dog, right? When you talk to it, you don't bark at it. You talk in the level of the more evolved consciousness. This is how they're trying to upgrade us to use consciousness as this multidimensional app that will interface with their level of expression. So yeah, this is like, you know, we're coming down to the wire. Unless we can rise to the level of consciousness we have the potential of activating, we're going to be manipulated like we have been for centuries. So there's a lot more to say about that. Yeah. Okay. So
Can I bother you with one more question?
Oh, wait,
This is a toss-up question.
I was just going to ask Eric what he was, and then I'll get back to you.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Quickly, I wanted to follow up about what Jesselyn said. There are levels to this, like, and I think you're going into this as well, that we reach certain levels, but we don't do it alone. Jesselyn said we rise together and we evolve together, but it takes time and effort.
Yes.
But our, you know, the other thing Coffee mentioned was that remote viewing and seeing that being as vaporous is so crucial to understanding what is going on beyond our confines of this 3D planet. And we're here for a very brief time as a 3D person, material person, and then we do evolve, and we probably will become vaporous at some point in our existence. And that's a pretty cool concept to think about. So
yeah, no, absolutely. Levels and levels, which is what the scope of humanity is. Gayla, what was your question?
Well, this is very, you know, specific to me, but I do have people that I interact with, and nobody's experienced this. I've had quite a few meditation experiences where I see a very bright light, and then one time I did pass out, and you mentioned sometimes you can't even stay conscious.
Right.
I'm aware of it now, so it doesn't get that far. And then I break into a flop sweat. It's very bizarre. Has anybody ever experienced that? And do you have a notion of what that is?
It's your consciousness shifting, but your body's stuck in an old kind of frequency because of whatever habitual things you have done over the last how many years. So your consciousness is raising and your body is trying to match, this is what my opinion, the frequency of the so you break out into the sweat, but it's all about shifting your whole cellular structural field. That's what I think is happening. What do you say, Jesselyn?
I agree with that. And then there's also things that you can do. So part of my class is also learning how to take care of yourself in a way that you can expand your consciousness even more. We are electromagnetic beings, so we have both of those aspects. And if you're dehydrated, that is one of the things that will
Yes.
stop you dead in your tracks from being able to remote view, from even being able to
Yes.
access your intuition. If you're dehydrated, because your cells need all of that conductivity. Then also you can also take, if you know you're gonna go into a session, Gayla, make sure you drink a bunch of water, and then you're also going to want to maybe do either electrolytes or minerals so that your body can actually hold the charge. So a lot of times when you pass out, it's because you either are dehydrated or your physical body is not able to hold the charge of that which you are bringing in. And the way that I describe it is, our physical bodies, if you're familiar with electricity, when you plug anything into a regular outlet, that's a 110. But your washer and dryer is a 220. So the reason why they have a totally different outlet on there is because if you were to plug in the 220 to the 110, you would blow something up, you'd start a fire, all of that stuff. So the way that if you're experiencing these symptoms, it's because your physical meat suit, your physical flesh body is running a 110 current, and your higher self, your angels and your guides are all 220. So you have to raise up the frequency in your physical meat suit. That's why there's foods you can eat, there's practices that you can do. And so that's part of why this takes 8 weeks to help you bring in all of these changes so that it's not so crazy, basically. Because before I even learned about all this, I was passing out often. My friends are like, that doesn't seem like that's not healthy. And then I started researching it, and then I realized, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. We are electromagnetic beings. We actually do need to be able to hold a higher charge in our physical body. So
Great
Thank you
answer,
both.
Jessalyn. Great. That's really perfect.
Thank you both.
Yes.
So we have 2 more classes that we've got to share about here while we're on call, and we can also return to this if you guys do have any further questions. Feel free to email us at team@lightnet.org. And so I'm going to go ahead and share. Speaking of all this stuff, there are ways also to document all of these happenings, and that's kind of what I am going to be teaching. A part of what I'm going to be teaching this season is Starseed channeled art. So if you guys are wondering about how and why we tap into our creativity and why that's so powerful to develop that creative side of our mind, we're going to be diving into all kinds of really exciting things with that. We're going to touch on shadow work. So that's going to be one of the first things we focus on in my class. And that's going to allow us to really get into the things that we are kind of afraid to face within ourselves. We are all artists innately, even if you don't consider yourself an artist, you're a creator, and part of being a creator and a human is that is your literal God-given gift on this planet, is to be able to bring things from the etheric realms and make them physical. So if you don't know how to do that, or if you're, afraid to express in some way because, you were shut down in childhood or had bad reactions with coming out artistically, then when you are in this group with all of these amazing people that we'll be surrounded with, we're going to be able to channel art for each other. We're going to be able to channel aspects of our dreams. And the great part of this is that you don't even need to be an artist to start doing this. You don't even need to be good at it, because when we take these frequencies and we actually translate them onto paper, however they come out, it is still the embodiment of that frequency, and you can still get all of the benefits from learning how to channel in this way. And it's very powerful. It's got a lot to do as well with kind of the art of creating runes and magic in that way. Is just putting it on paper, having a physical representation of that magic and of that channel. It really enhances it. So that's going to be a really beautiful, this is a new course at Starseed Academy, but I'm super excited to be able to bring this to everybody. And if you'd like to check out some of my artwork, we can send a link here, but we're starseedacademy.org/coffee. So you can see the artwork examples and some more information about that class. So yeah, does anyone have any questions about that? I'd be happy to answer it. awesome. Then we will move on to Adam's course.
Great. Aloha, everyone. So, kind of as a follow-on to some of the things Alan was talking about, we're dealing with different types of perception and awareness when we lucid dream. And the waking induced lucid dreaming is a technique that we'll master so that we can enter the lucid dreaming state at will with our conscious mind fully alert as we allow our bodies to fall asleep. And then if you go online, and I've done it myself, you're going to find introductory courses to lucid dreaming are a dime a dozen. There's literally like a million of them. And something I noticed in it, and it encouraged us to want to develop this course, is that there's no second step. There's a lot of places that offer the idea of how to begin this journey, but there's nothing that increases and encourages the expansion of the adventure. And that's exactly what you can plan on obtaining in this course. We'll go into advanced techniques that include having multiple lucid dreams simultaneously, dreaming with plants, dreaming with other people, and time dilation. And one of the main research focuses I personally have in these courses and with the teams that we work with is increasing our ability to remember. So I'm really excited that in this course, one of the team members is bringing some different types of technology to bear, and we're going to be able to push the envelope on recollection, because the time dilation suggests possibilities that are very exciting. The ability to have a dream that lasts for a year and one night's rest, and then to be able to recall those things is right at the top of the research category of what we're going to be working on this time and every time until we crack this open and have repeatable techniques for being able to retain the knowledge that you gain while you're participating in a lucid dream of extended time dilation. I'm really happy with the success that we've had in the past. Similar to Alan's courses, the Wild course has had 100% effectiveness. Everyone's been able to achieve the skill set. And Alan, you're such a shining example about how to do these things well. And our brother, I really appreciate you and everything you've done for LightNet and continue
Thank
the
you.
world at large in these realms of
Well,
possibility.
I believe in it. I believe in this evolution of knowledge. So thank you, Adam. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And so if anyone has any questions about the lucid dreaming experiences that will be engendering, you can drop a comment here or send an email to team@lightnet.org, and I'd be happy to interact with you and ascertain whether or not this is going to be the course of direction that you'd like to take your growth and learning into the future with. And thank you, everyone.
Amazing. Amazing. And if anyone has any questions for Adam right now, you can go ahead and raise your hand or speak up. Or again, there's a link in your YouTube chats that you can join on live with us here in the backstage.
I like the hat, Adam. It's working. That's very cool.
Yeah, I'm the swag ambassador for LightNet and Starseed Academy.
He is. I love seeing him wear this lucid living shirt because he wears it everywhere, and all the time people come up to him, they like ask him like, what's lucid living? Like, explain this to me. So it's a great conversation starter because it helps to open people's minds.
Yeah, and I'll give you the explanation, the quick elevator explanation that I've got now. I'm glad that that's humorous, because I think humor is at the core of what helps us elevate our consciousness. So the technique of lucid dreaming is one where we separate ourselves from normal dreaming. And I hope that this causes some curiosity for everyone when I say dreaming. When we dream, we use our consciousness to arrange energy into such a organized pattern that it provides us with an experience. We're not aware that we're doing that, even though that's what's happening. And when we lucid dream, we become aware that we're dreaming. And that awareness is such that we are then consciously arranging energy in such a way that it provides us with an experience, and we know we're doing that. And that provides us with abilities and possibilities that can be expanded and explored upon. So lucid living is kind of the next step in that. We use lucid dreaming as a means and training ground to gain conscious awareness of dealing with energy in such a way. And then we open our eyes, we wake up and realize that we can continue to do a very similar thing. We can be awake in the dream of being awake. And that is lucid living.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have another question. I'm just do you instructors, teachers,
Guides.
do you guys, do all of you use all of these techniques, or do you find that, I think Jesslyn mentioned this, one technique resonates with some of you and you're better at this one than that one, and that's where you focus?
That's possible. The waking-induced lucid dreaming technique has a really strong proven efficacy. I won't say that it's the only way. There are a lot of ways to enter into the lucid dreaming state, and there are a lot of ways to enter into a lucid living state. And what works best for you is definitely what we encourage. In order to intend into existence some group dream experiences, I'll use some induction techniques to get us all entered into the dreaming state together.
But
we travel together.
I just want to add, and this is something that we might do in the future. I don't know if Adam and Coffee has thought about this, but the idea is to learn it all, because this is really what the ancient mystery schools were about. They were trained in many, many different modalities. It was what the initiates would focus their whole life on. So it wasn't just something, oh, I think I'll use this now. It's ongoing, and it's in daily use, so you can really become the masters of the universe. And that's, maybe we'll do a kind of ancient mystery school retreat where all these modalities could be available to a bunch of people, and we do training, and we do for a week, including seeing through your blindfolds and all this stuff that we're collecting as valuable fifth dimensional skills that will bring us into those realms as a new civilization. That's really what all of this is about, right?
Absolutely, Alan. I really liken the experience of the mystery school a lot more to art school, where you sit down and you sit down at the potter's wheel and you throw up on the wall every different kind of paint, and you keep working through all the modalities, getting exposure to them, and then your natural talent will draw you into a form of expression that you are best suited for. And you'll find those things come together. And also with practice, people can achieve success rates, skills, and abilities that they don't imagine to be possible.
The other thing, Adam, is eventually, there's a shift in consciousness. The things that were important to people before aren't as important, and they start to really align with beaming the higher frequency, being the initiate, the adept, so it can start to bring up the whole vibration of the planet. I think that's really the ultimate goal of LightNet, is to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, hooray.
Does that help?
Yes, that does. And okay, yeah, it does. I had a sensibility about these modalities, techniques, whatever, being different languages that I just don't remember how to speak.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a good way to describe that, actually. That's really brilliant.
You know,
Yeah.
and
Well, it didn't come from me. I'll thank whoever it was when I meet them.
right, and Alan could probably expand on this story because it was his teacher. But one of the things I know about Russell Targ's research with remote viewing is that he employed a couple of really well-known psychics.
Yeah.
And at one juncture, they said, okay, this is really leaning hard towards being an expert. We need a control subject. And so
Yeah.
there was a woman at the end of the hallway had a photography studio, and they had become friendly with her, and they said, would you mind being our control subject? And she said yes, and she turned out to be the best at doing it.
She did.
Oh,
That's the story. That you're absolutely right. I forgot her name. Hella
Dude, but
Hansel, maybe. But I
uh-huh.
think she didn't know anything about it, and she was better than all these hired psychics. Absolute. So we can all do this. I mean,
Right.
really, we're born that way. We're just
Right.
educated away from it. I just want to address that question. Mark mentioned before about free will, and the jury's out on that. But someone said to me, "You have to believe in free will. You have no choice." So little joke there. But I think, if you don't think you have free will, then you're sort of a victim. I think we can take charge of our realities, and I think there is that timeline shift that we can do when we want to. So anyway, we do have a choice. Okay, whatever. Okay.
Mhm. Amazing. So thank you guys. Thank you everyone for coming on today. This was an amazing broadcast, and I just wanted to let everyone know that Starseed Academy officially starts July 16th, and it is by application only. So if you would like to join, please go ahead, and I just posted the link to the YouTube chat section, so you guys can see that there. It's starseedacademy.org/season 7. So
Right.
yeah.
And you should make this public. Are you going to post this on YouTube?
Yeah,
All
this
right,
is
post it on my channel too, if you
it
can.
is.
Okay.
It's already posted there. We're
Oh,
live on your channel.
we're live. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Subscribe to this
Thank
channel.
you.
Okay.
Been awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Really
guys.
good work, you guys. It's a blessing, and I think holding this space in peace, when we do that, it resonates outward because we are all connected. We're quantumly entangled, so we need to keep moving forward with that type of consciousness. And thank you.
Yes,
Yes.
thank
Thanks,
you
Eric.
as well.
Thank you all very much.
Yeah,
Very welcome. It was really great to share this time with you. Have a great afternoon.
yeah.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Looking forward to seeing everyone in the classes. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Susan. Good to see your face.
Same here.